Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace, family. We got Daquay and Tyron here to talk on this discussion. Um, we're gonna start it off with this quick video so you guys can have like a little bit of a background to know what we're talking about. Um,
The beginning of this ordeal, I have proclaimed my innocence to any and everyone who will listen. And it's a travesty that it took 16 and a half years to get my life back.
Without the confines of prison walls, Tyrone Hill was able to hug his daughter as a free man for the first time since she was 2 months old.
Baby girl, we can't get that time back. We can't get that time back. But our entire future lies ahead of Schmidt behind. So I'm not only challenging the conviction review unit, but I'm challenging the entire justice system to get it right.
After spending nearly half of his life in prison, Hill now plans to help others who were wrongfully convicted. On Wednesday, he turns 35.
Nice.
wow. So, Mr. Hill, how does that feel just watching that? From this new position that you're in.
Man, it just gave me chills watching that, man. I didn't know you was gonna throw that on.
Well, I wanted to give people a little bit of little bit of background to
Yeah.
But you have any questions, Dakwe?
No. Can you just how can I say this? Can you just go into like, and I know you probably did this over and over again, but just that feeling of finally getting out, and just before even that, can you just introduce yourself to the viewers for us, please?
Okay, well, my name is Teron Hill, as you guys just seen. And when I was 18 years old, I was falsely accused for a crime I didn't commit. Went to trial. Obviously I'm innocent. I go to trial. I'm not, they offer me plea deals, all types of things, and I wasn't taking nothing. I went to trial and they found me guilty by a so-called jury of my peers. And they sentenced me to 60 years in prison. When I was first arrested, my daughter was literally a month old. I was so super excited, a new father, and they snatched me out of her life, man, when she was just 1 month and sentenced me to 60 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's just a great background. Honestly, great story, but honestly, we're here today because of the title. It's called Injustice System, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of issues that we have in the justice system in the United States. And Tehran is a clear example of that. He was wrongfully convicted of a murder he did not commit. But again, it seemed just based off of lawyers being measured off of wins and losses. Their whole job was just to get him convicted.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It was just to get you convicted without even actually going to, because that's how lawyers are just pretty much that's how lawyers are. As far as prosecutors and stuff like that, their job is to get convictions no matter what. And it's kind of, in ways, the criminal justice system is treated as a business too.
Yeah,
Where
real quick,
Go ahead.
I think it's definitely important for you to explain that, because when you mention lawyers, a lot of people don't know that prosecutors are lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but they're lawyers for the state. Exactly.
yes, lawyers for the state.
Lawyers for the state. And just to give you guys a background on myself, because my obviously Tehran has his background, but I'll give you a background on me. So same thing, born and raised in Camden, New Jersey. I ended up going to college in New Jersey City University, where I studied criminal justice. There I got my bachelor's and I got my master's in criminal justice. So I know a thing or two about this subject. Currently, right now, I'm in law enforcement. I'm a police officer, and I'm really getting to see how the inside of things are and how the system is done and how things are being held. For the sake of my department, everything, I will leave that out of what department I am employed at. But just to give you guys that I do know what I'm talking about, and I do have an understanding of how things work. One thing I will say is that it's definitely an eye opener, because when I was in college, I was getting the book knowledge on things, and book knowledge is great, but nothing's like the true life experience that you get when you're actually dealing with things and you see things happen. So that's the background of me.
Yeah. Well, I won't go into the background, but those are all good things. I think I'm just qualified to have a conversation. I might not have the extensive background as you guys, but I wouldn't have the conversation. But however, I believe that what happened to you, Mr. Hill, is what happens to a lot of us black men, or a lot of us men. I'm just saying men, but I can hold in on to the black thing, but I think that this is what happens to a lot of us. Um, I don't really know your background, but most times we don't have the background that's needed to fight the system.
Yes.
Parents not in position or don't even have the knowledge. They don't even take the time to read the law. So that's why we are easily, taken by the system. So
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, when you talking about a coincidence, I got an uncle that also, was falsely accused, and he was crazy because he got locked up, I believe it was in '89, and he came home in 2004, June. I never forget it. Like I witnessed him walk out the prison. It was like a dream for me. And then for it to happen to me literally like 5 months later was something that's mind blowing.
I'm aware of that.
Mind blowing. My uncle's name is Anthony Ways. You guys can look him up. He was, exonerated as well. And for that to happen twice in one family, man, this is sad.
and not a lot of people are as lucky as you guys to get it, taken off or to
Yes.
get it shown to not be them. Because most of us, or most of them, or most of us, when we go through these things, we just get the plea deal, or we just do the time, or we don't fight back because we don't, like I said, we don't retain the knowledge.
So, Teron, one thing I did want to ask is, did your uncle influence you to like fight your case and move forward, or is something that happens totally separate afterwards?
Yeah, it was two separate situations, but the thought of him, just knowing everything that happened to him, it definitely gave me that extra like motivation to say, if he got out, like I'm going to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's man. Again, you're just very strong for that. Because a lot of people couldn't handle that, and that's where I went to bring up the whole Khalif Browder.
Yes.
I may be saying his name wrong. Situation, but he another one. He was wrongly convicted for a crime he didn't do. Pretty much this was due to New York stop and frisk rules and stuff like that. And if some viewers aren't sure what the stop and frisk rule was, that's just something. In short, New York had a stop and frisk rule. It was their way of trying to clean guns up off the streets. But what ended up happening is a lot of black and brown people was disproportionately stopped and placed in prisons for crimes they didn't do. Khalif Broward, an individual who ended up going through that and ended up being in prison and placed on Rikers Island. And fortunately, he didn't have to wait as long as you. He ended up being there for 3 years. But through those 3 years, man, his life was hell. He was getting into fights, all that other stuff. It was a lot of things he was going through. That he just obviously just something he wasn't used to. And eventually he got out. And unfortunately, he did a couple great interviews and then unfortunately ended up taking his own life. So I guess could you, Teron, could you speak on that? Like, not necessarily like the prison system itself, but particularly like what it's like going through that whole thing, the whole prison system itself, and like I guess just constantly waiting for your innocence to be proven and showing resilience to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, like you said, in Khalif's situation, unfortunately, he took his own life. It's easy for people to say, if I was in his shoes, I would have done this or I would have done that. But I know for me specifically, I was of the mindset that this can never happen to me. And many of us are, I'm sure. You know how. You get what I'm saying? So this I know for me, once I lost track. Well, when I was falsely arrested,
Mm-hmm.
the last thing on my mind was that I was going to lose trial.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I said. I didn't do it. I ain't got nothing to worry about. You know, my family was, you know, grew up in poverty situations. They didn't have no type of bail money to bail me out. So I had to sit for 2 years in a county jail in extreme conditions, you know, a bunch of nonsense going on in there. You know, this the mentality that come from the streets. And so I had to survive that, you know, went to trial because mind you, I was locked up for killing 2 women. Two innocent bystanders got hit. So that situation, you know, a lot of people can judge you off of that. And a lot of people did judge me off of that. A lot of people still to this day, I have people saying that I just got off. And they don't really know the extensive investigation that went on with the governor and the attorney general's office and stuff like that. But, you know, people going to have their opinion. I mean, I know it's hard for a family to accept someone that has been locked up for 16 and a half years for, you know, murdering their family member to get out and then for them to say that he didn't do it. Like, imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? For any of us, imagine that. They're like, how? So just going through that, man, it was the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. The appeal process. And again, my mind says still, each appeal, your first appeal is called a direct appeal. It took a number of, like, let's say 2.5, 3 years for me to file that appeal. Still mentally, I'm going home. You know, the lower court got it wrong, but the higher courts, which is a panel of 3 judges, they're going to get it right.
Mm-hmm. You had faith.
Huh?
I said you had faith.
Yes, I have faith. So this 3-judge panel, it's impossible for them to get it wrong. This is my mindset. Sure enough.
Naive.
Huh?
Naive.
Yes. Naive, blind, all of that. And they denied me. And each denial was like that not guilty verdict. I mean, that guilty verdict all over again. The guilty verdict. I mean, like when they came back with a guilty verdict, I went numb. I just didn't know what to think, what to feel, none of that. So you go on to your next appeal. Same process. All right, my lawyer was ineffective, which means that he did a horrible job.
So hold on, stop right there for a second. My bad to cut you off. Your lawyer, did you have an actual lawyer that you hire, or was it a what they call it again?
Public defender.
A public defender. It was a public defender.
So, no, I had a paid attorney. One of my family members was able to, you know, he had just ran into a lawsuit. He found out that I got locked up, and I salute him to the max because he did the best he could do to help me get out of prison. And I had but this lawyer was a civil attorney. He specialized in civil cases, which is filing lawsuits. And he convinced my uncle to, you know, represent me. You know, of course, I don't care. He charged him $30,000.
Woo!
And he literally sold me out. I mean, I had an alibi witness and everything. Like, he didn't present my alibi because he thought I was guilty. That's the issue. When you have an attorney, you know, the number one thing people say is that I'm innocent. I didn't do it. But to the point to where though your lawyer actually believed that you're guilty.
Do you know back in those times? Well, not that it's so far behind, but back in those times, they were really doing that. They were co-inspiring. They were like, they would go to like the judge and the 2 prosecutors. They would actually go together and expire. Okay, well, you give them the just like the plea deal crap.
Yeah,
just give them probation. You know, all that little crap. That is all ways for them to still get their case. You know, for them to still get that win. You know, and still, even if like some of us don't even supposed to get probation or whatever, or 10, 12 years or whatever it is in prison, it's that they just trying to, you know, finagle the system. But the thing is, this has been going on like for long time. Black men has been getting charged for things that they did not do. This isn't nothing new. It's just something that, you know, it's been more brought to light because we have these cameras, we have our voices to voice, you know, our
Let me add 2 things too. First thing is reason why I mentioned the lawyer thing, because a lot of times people in your situation just have a public defender. And when it comes down to public defenders, they're looking to plea because they have a high volume of cases, and there's like, okay, they're already working in the background with the prosecutor to get some sort of plea deal, without you even knowing. It's always like, oh, let's push the plea, let's push the plea. And then second is when it comes to the high volume of cases and stuff like that, and the public defender, it was something I wanted to add. It's something particularly about I believe the prosecutor. I'm losing my train of thought, but it was something. Let's just stick with the high volume of cases, right? Like, again, a lot of people can't even afford a lawyer, so they end up in a situation where they just have a public defender, and that's it. Oh, and that the thought just came back to me. One of my professors used to always tell me in college, if everybody stops pleading, the justice system will collapse.
Yes.
Because the simple fact that if people don't plea anymore, then it's like, okay, now you got to work cases, and there's already a high volume amount of cases that goes on every day. The system will collapse because of that. I believe, don't quote me on a percentage, I think 90% of cases are plead out when it comes down to it. So that's just something I wanted to add as far as that.
Yes, and this a quick point on that. That false confessions, which is what plea bargains lead to, because they make you go in the courtroom and actually plead guilty, whether you did it or not. You have to actually give a statement and say, I did this, I committed this, and they give you like basically a script to say. So that's why the number one leading cause that leads to a wrongful conviction is false confessions.
Exactly. And that actually, something else we wanted to talk about that we got to dive in on too is now we go into the Central Park Five, the Scottsboro boys. We look at cases like that. I don't know if some people saw those documentaries, but we could focus on the Central Park Five. Again, 5 black gentlemen were falsely convicted of a crime they didn't do, which was pretty much, I forgot the name of the woman, but she stated that it was 5 black men that raped her in Central Park. And NYPD didn't do their due diligence. They just ran in there and just grabbed like 5 random boys. And then once it came down to it, out of those 5 kids, a lot of them didn't have an actual lawyer. I believe one of the parents actually did it. She found the lawyer for their son, but other 5 of them didn't. And what ended up happening is they end up going in the confession room, and they end up pressuring them. This is all pre-recorded, people. We're not just for the viewers. This is not our opinions. These are facts. This is history. Again, so when those young boys was brought in these confessions rooms, they was pretty much in ways forced. These are, and we're not going to talk about how many rights was being violated, but these were 16-year-old boys, 15-year-old boys, without even their parents being there. Technically, you need a parent to be in there, a guardian to be in there. Yeah. But again, that's something they skipped out on too. And with that, all that being said, a lot of those boys was placed in prisons, man, and that was a sad thing. So, what's your thoughts on that, cuz? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm like I said, I was falsely accused for murdering 2 women, but for those who don't know, if you got rape on your jacket, you going to prison. That's major, man. Like they checking you in, people, pushing up on you. Like, don't nobody want to deal with you. They kind of want to stay away from you because you think people trying to hear that you saying you ain't do it. Of course you're gonna say you ain't do it. You get what I'm saying? So the wolves is definitely going to come out and try to, do all types of stuff to you, man. So I can only imagine what they went through as well.
Yeah, I'm just getting in here. I'm sorry, guys. But do you think about the system being so much bigger now? Like bigger than just the jail, bigger than just the prison. The steps behind it, the person that made you, all of it, just the bigger, like this big picture.
The prison system is a business, man. The prison system is a business. Like, I'm talking about, especially in New Jersey. New Jersey is a police state. You get what I'm saying? You look at all these other states to where as though they gun laws are more lenient, because that's the New Jersey's mindset is if they are more lenient on gun laws, that they think things will get out of control. But other states has proven that that's not the case. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
again, for those who don't know, New Jersey prison system is big business. And this especially in those inner city communities, because in those inner city communities, they feel like these guys are already out here committing crimes. I know where I grew up at is liquor stores on every corner, is drugs being sold on every other corner. So that right there is like when the police run down, Quay, you know this. When the police run down in those inner city communities, they don't care who out there doing what. If I'm just in passing and I'm just hanging out, these neighborhood guys, I've grown up around these guys. These guys may be stone cold murderers, but they giving me money to go to the store, get them something to eat, things like that. And he's a pretty cool guy to me. I don't know what he's doing. But when they run down and you out there, they throwing you up against the wall, they frisking you, they talking, dirt to you, spitting on you, all types of stuff.
Breaking your rights.
Yes, because they consider you a drug dealer just like everybody else. So this is something that's going on in these inner city communities day in and day out.
Man, it's bigger than a drug dealer. They think that you're a peasant. They think that you a nigga.
Yeah.
That's what they think you. That's what the inner city is all about. It's like no matter what you is, you can be whatever. You can be a pastor. They don't care what you is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can be a young boy, old man. They will all do you the same in those areas.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they look at you as a poor. They don't have the resources to back you. If I beat you up, you ain't got the money to go get the lawyer to fight the case or even to sue us at the if you even win. You know what I'm saying?
So let's even go back though to the prison systems, and because I'm not disagreeing with you, I would say in the United States as a whole, the prison system is a business.
Yes.
And now certain states, I know California is trying to retract and trying to go back from private prisons. Private prisons is something that definitely needs to be talked about when we're having this conversation, because if you do your research, just review the 13th Amendment. Pretty much is a law that's in the amendments that you don't have to do slave work pretty much, but for lack of better terms. But once you're placed in prison, now you can do this work for what, 10 cents? I don't know, because you would know what the amount of money you make, but you're doing jobs. And I mean, for big corporations, we talking about Victoria's Secret, Nike, other companies that you're doing some factory work for prison labor. That's the key word, prison labor, that you're being doing. And that was being done. Now I think it actually was, and I didn't notice. You probably know this, because back in the day, what was that prison that was right on the Delaware River across from Northgate? I forgot the name.
I think it was Riverfront.
Yeah, that was a private prison.
Okay.
But what's happening now is that a lot of private prisons are closing down now because they weren't providing the same, resources as a state prison would. So they wasn't maintaining. Prisoners were dying in the jail. Wasn't getting adequate food, or whatever the case may be. And again, it was being used as businesses. So now what you're seeing, what's happening now is that a lot of private prisons are being shut down. So.
Yeah, but that's because a lot of this stuff is coming to light. Like what they was pushing for, we need more prisons. The people are aware that there with the statements that they was making, saying that they need more prisons, get people off the street, get these criminals off the street, is not true. So now it's coming out. Now they're seeing that now we're going broke. These states is going broke because it's taking too much money to house these inmates.
No, there we go. Right, that's key right there. As Cuz said, not even just lawsuits. It's taking a lot of money to house these inmates, house these people incarcerated. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot, and that's why California did it, because they started to go bankrupt because they was housing a lot of these prisoners, man, and it's expensive. It's expensive. I don't know the exact number. I believe it's like $45,000 to take care of one inmate, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, around one person, like 40.
Right. Okay, so it's around them numbers, and that gets really expensive.
Yeah,
but it was something else. I'm actually have my master project up here. So when I got my master's, I wrote a title. It says, "Have drug policies in the United States highlighted the political and racial disparity amongst people of color incarcerated." So I talk about various topics. I talk about social conflict theory, labeling theory. That's when we talk about as far as us as Black folks being labeled a certain way or being labeled as criminals and stuff like that. I go into a deep dive into everything that goes on in the prison system. And I think one of the number one things that we haven't touched base on is drugs, right? So I think it was a 1994 crime bill. This was a bill that poured a lot of money into a lot of these police departments. Why so? In the early 1980s and the 1980s and the late 1970s, the Democrats kept losing the election. So Bill Clinton came along and he was like, look, because it was the viewpoint was that Democrats was too soft on crime, on placing people in prisons and too soft on enforcing law. Yeah. So when Bill Clinton came along, his idea was, oh well, we're not soft on our justice system, and we will enforce the law. And that's when that happened. He poured a lot of money into these police departments, and what ended up happening is obviously people started getting. It was a 3-strike law that existed at the time. People were being placed in prison. People always say, and Mike, you probably like this. People always say how life was so good with Bill Clinton, and they say, yeah, it was because everybody's put in prison. So the incarceration rate was sky high during his presidency. And again, if some of the viewers don't know, that's the bill that a lot of people bring up when it comes to our president. What's his name again? I don't even pay attention to this dude, man. Anyway, Joe Biden.
Biden? Yeah, Joe Biden.
Yeah, I'm having Joe Biden. He definitely during that time he was still in politics, and he actually helped write that crime bill. And that's something that we definitely need to evaluate as far as when it comes to the quote injustice system. And that was something that was used to again place people in prisons, or we could say brown and Black folks, place them in prisons, and that was that. So
yeah, definitely. I know in New Jersey, and I definitely shout out to Governor Murphy, Attorney General Grewal from New Jersey. He's no longer Attorney General. You know, he stepped
I'm familiar
out.
with him. Yep.
Yeah, but definitely shout out to them for putting that unit together, the conviction review unit, that led to my exoneration. But they need pressure on them, man, because that unit, they paid $30 million into that unit. $30 million. And Christie did it. Christie the one that put it in, but Murphy is the one that funded it.
Okay.
For those who don't know. And got it up and running. And I am their first and only exoneration this far.
Wow, you was exonerated 3 years ago now. How long has it been?
A year and a half, like 21 months.
Oh, see.
So in almost 2 years, they have exonerated one individual. Like where is this money going at? I mean, you got states that exonerate 30, 40 people a year through that unit, which is great. Like these units are the future because like I wrote multiple innocence projects and these innocence projects is definitely excited for these conviction review units. Some states call them conviction integrity units. And it's so important because these innocence projects is going to these courtrooms and being treated as regular lawyers because it's taking them 9, 10, 15 years to get a client off. And they going in there like they don't even accept regular cases. Like I wrote them tons of letters. They said we can't do nothing for you because they be looking for DNA evidence. They need something that can, okay, you take this spit swab or you take this blood sample and they can exonerate you from a crime. That's what the cases that they look for. Because the judges is giving them such a hard time in these courtrooms. So imagine that.
If they get paid off of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they taking them through this, and when I was when the conviction review unit was on my case, it took them 2 years to exonerate me. And I even got to shorten that because, mind you, COVID hit in 2020. So they picked up my case in July 2019. COVID hit, March February in 2020, and everything shut down. Ain't nobody know what was going on. So everything shut down, and I got exonerated in July 9th, 2021. So it maybe took them what, a year and a half, which is very, very short time. Each appeal took at least 2 years when I was in there. So the more I think about it, I'm definitely grateful. But now I've been home a year and a half, and nobody else got let go. COVID is done. I mean, it's still going on, but they know how to deal with it now. So I'm confused. Like, why ain't nobody else get let go yet?
And I guess that's what we're going to act. Do you have a theory behind that as to why? Was it just like a pandemic thing, or was it just like they feel as though they got to be the right case because they don't want to end up failing? They're scared to fail.
It definitely is a screening process, and I made it my business. I had relocated to North Carolina. You know, I couldn't deal with Jersey no more. I said, you know, I took me and my family. We left, and I located an Innocence Project out here, and is a wonderful young lady. She's the director of it. Me and her met over coffee, and she's given me the privilege to actually go to these law schools, whereas though they do case review.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have the opportunity. We have one coming up on the 12th, I believe, at UNC, University of North Carolina, and they're doing an actual case review that's going to determine if her Innocence Project accept the case or not. Which I believe is an amazing process, because you got she's definitely got a mindset for the innocent. Like her fight, her struggle is for innocence. So I'm looking forward to being able to go in there and be able to see that process, because they are very, very important to, I guess, to decide whether they accept your case or not. You know, that hope or denial.
Mm-hmm. So I see a comment here. It says the system isn't going to fight the system. And I totally agree with that, and I totally understand. Another thing they also say is a lot of people say that the system is broken. System is not necessarily broken; it's working how they want it to work.
Yes.
As we talk about this again, we gotta look at it's a simple short term business. America is a business. I went to college, but that was a business. The prison system was a business. Everything is treated as a business, and the only way we can kind of get out of this, we have to change the system. Capitalism seemed like to be a great thing, which it was, but now look how many businesses have fused with each other. Or look how many people are just treating everything as a business, where you take to the point where they're almost robotic. They don't care about actual people. It's about the money they can make, and I believe that is key. That needs to be reevaluated in our system, man. For sure. Mike, you got anything to say? What's your thoughts on that?
Which part?
Just the system as itself.
Well, but I'm all about fighting the system. I mean, that's the question. I feel though is that it's not no difference if you go to North Carolina, if you go to Texas, if you go to Philadelphia, if you go to New Jersey. I feel like it's like you said, the system is built to be the way it is. So the system is built to catch niggas. I mean, to catch.
Now we get it, but the point is to change the environment, though. Like, so if I'm so familiar, mind you, Jersey did that to me.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I wasn't attacking you at all.
Oh, nah. I know.
I was just,
but this for the viewers, though.
Yeah.
I mean, for the reason why I located is to Jersey. You know, is the ones that wronged me.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously, you know, civil suits and stuff like that come after the fact. So they want to see you fail. So I don't want to take the chance of them framing me in any way. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I've relocated.
And then also we have a comment that says what systems you should suggest. So first things first, as far as us as people of color, I think we get caught up too much in these primary elections when it comes to the president. And a lot of people forget everything starts at the municipal level.
Yes.
That's where we need to focus on. That's where we need to show up for these township meetings, stuff like these are things that we need to be a part of. So we can actually elect officials from there, and it trickles up. A lot of times we focus on the president and stuff like that, who's the president, but we forget about what's going down in New Jersey or North Carolina, or what's going down in Camden, or what's going down in West Long Branch or Pennsauken, or whatever case, and whatever. Let's say Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't even know if I know any.
Right. Yeah.
But we need to focus on the municipal level first and have that trickled up. A second suggestion I would say is we need more people to be in the system, right? We need more people, police officers, lawyers, and so on and so forth, look just like us, to have an understanding and not lose track.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I feel though it's this. And no matter what color man you put in there, you are all controlled by the system. You know, no matter white, black, Puerto Ricans, Chinese, doesn't matter what you put in there. If I got laws or policies in place, no matter what color you are, you don't follow my policies and my rules, you get fired and I bring somebody else in. They'll do the same thing.
I got to argue that.
But I get we can be in those positions to fight the actual law or to, vote maybe. But in the overall thing, I don't think that it doesn't matter what color the person is. They'll eventually be corrupted. You know, and we can show you videos of black cops killing black men. You know, so that doesn't matter if you're a black cop, white cop. You ever heard that song? Black cop. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think to speak on that, I think is based on the individual in that sense, because you also have a ton of black cops that shut it down. Like they don't allow that. They don't allow they partners to do the racism stuff. They don't allow that stuff. So, like you said, more of us, more honest men and women need to join the system. We can't run from it. A lot of us hate cops for no reason. I mean, not saying for no reason. I'm sure we see on TV, but we're not even involved in criminal activity, and we so-called against cops. We would never even go be a police officer or try out and stuff like that. Like it's more of our people need to be in position. You need more prosecutors. You need more honest people that's willing to do the right thing. Because if I'm a prosecutor and I believe that this man, or if I have some evidence that you are an innocent man, I'm going to let you off. I don't care what backlash I get. I can't live with that.
Not all people. Hold on, but listen, you gotta think about it like for a different stance for a little bit, because some people live for their family. I got my kid, I got my wife, I got this, I got that. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm the judge and I got my prosecutor, we all on the same side, and you the defendant. I mean, you're the lawyer. Who you think gonna win?
No, but you don't lose your job from doing the right thing. You just kind of get, colleagues. Your colleagues kind of look at you with a.
That's if you are an independent lawyer. But if you work for the system, enough strikes, enough write-ups, I'm sure you can get off. You can get your.
No, but Mike, he's talking about something legally that's being done. He's talking about people actually being incorporated in the system. Something that me and you talked about last time we had our discussion was, again, us. Let's just look at, because we all here identify as black. Let's look at the black community. Like he said, a lot of times people are saying F the police, this, that, and the third. We can't all fight from the outside. It's just that simple. We cannot all fight from the outside, because the process is going to take even longer, right? Like I told you last week, there was a 500-year head start. We had a little battle about that. But again, we got to have people in the system. We need more black folks to stop striving. Like I told you last week, and me and Teron talked about this a little bit. Like too many times we have the wrong leaders. And I think Malcolm X even said this in the beginning. No, I think it was Muhammad Ali, one of them. We have the wrong leaders, man. Like entertainers, actors, they should not be our leaders in society, man. Absolutely. They should not. People like Teron, people who work in the justice system, man, who works in the justice or know the justice or who are educated on these things. These should be the focuses, and this we should be teaching, because I know all of us got daughters. These are the things that we should be teaching our daughters and stuff. Like, again, not to be an athlete, a star athlete, but again, we need to get in the system, work in the system, and give a different perspective on things and actually help us out. Because again, if we all continue to fight outside the system, the progress is just going to move slow. Yeah. I mean, how many more protests we're gonna do and stuff like that, because I know nobody's ready to do boycott and things like that. So again, a great solution would be, again, us working in the system.
Just don't be against it. This don't be against it. You know, a lot of us is against it. You know, back in the day when a person in class used to stand up and say, when you grow up, what you want to be? Oh, I want to be a cop. Everybody laugh at you. Everybody, you start thinking that's something bad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Must I remind you, even something simple as a cop, that's a good job. It's a good job. You get pension benefits and you make decent money.
Yeah. All right, so
I'm gonna have to be you make good money. Go ahead. What you about to say? You about to say something?
I said I have to be the conflict of this.
Okay.
Of this conversation. I'm not going to say that being a cop is such a bad thing, but the original title of a cop was just to catch niggas, and I want to keep y'all in reality because the system has not changed from the jump. It's the same system from the beginning, same schooling, the same everything, mostly just modernized.
It has evolved. It has evolved.
Modernized.
He won't be standing
so
here today.
Now you don't have to have a white cop beat you up and kill you. You can have a black cop. You can have whatever race you want. You want a Chinese one? We'll get you a Chinese one. Go get them. Go kill us. Go get us some more niggas. Or whatever. I'm just saying. Not all. Listen, I don't like to, because it's like this. We are trying to integrate. That's what it sounds like. And I get it. We already integrated, but that's what got us in the position that we are in today. So we don't have a real black nothing. You say law. We don't have a government. We under somebody else's leadership. So we're fighting another man for rights in his land. It's like, sometimes it doesn't really make sense, but I like to entertain it sometimes. But again, I don't believe that all positions are good positions. I feel those mostly it should be just tore down, to be honest. I know that's rhetoric I shouldn't be saying, but be honest, I'm like
radical for sure.
Yeah, radical. Well, whatever you want to say. Or not, forget the tore down. Go build your own. Go build your own government. Go build your own Senate. Go do your own stuff. Instead of looking for somebody else to give us something that we're never going to get. We've been begging for this, basically been begging for the same thing. And every generation of children has to endure the same daggone thing. And we all saying, oh, we fighting. The way you fighting is going to take another 50 generations and a lot more children to suffer, by the way we doing it.
You thinking we should create our own government within the government?
No, we don't have to. See,
that's what it sounds like you said, though.
And the thing, the black folks don't understand the power that they have. See, the thing is, right? You see how if we could actually ever come together, all right, we all don't even have to come together. It just really need to be a certain percentage, and that percentage will make the rest just follow. But what I'm saying is that if we hold the vote, if let's say you're saying whatever you're saying about this whatever it is, whatever black folks want, if they moved as a unit, things would I believe it would move much faster and it will hold more weight.
That's why we need certain groups. Like a lot of people don't know, Women's Against Drunk Drivers, right? That is a very powerful group in the United States who gets a lot of laws passed. So we need more groups like that. And like you said, obviously we gotta come together and create some sort of organization to be able to have enough power to sway votes. Mm-hmm. I know, and a lot of people don't like her. Candace Owens, I believe her name is. She was an individual who she felt as though she had a viewpoint on. She was the first to admit, yeah, I voted for Obama, and I'll be the first one to tell you just because he's black. But her main issue with reality and today about our vote is that she felt as though that the black vote is currently dying, pretty much. I think in the U.S., I think the black population, we grew up in inner cities, so it seemed like everybody's black, but the U.S. population as a whole, we only make up 11% of the population.
I think it was 16.
maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. I know it's less than 20%. I can tell you that for
Right,
sure.
yeah.
Latinos make up, I'm gonna throw this out there, 35%, I want to say, of the population. So that's the vote that she felt as though that they're starting to focus more on, and our agendas and stuff are starting to get pushed back. And then the Latinos agendas are getting pushed to the forefront. This is why I think it's more important than ever, where we do some way we need to form these groups, like something like the Innocence Project or other groups that we're able to show that we can provide to show power and to show the power of the Black vote in order to get certain laws swayed.
That part, I'll let you guys hold it on, because I'm not maybe as developed into all the departments that we may need. But I do believe that we should all, like I say again, we should work as a unit. It's just like I don't want to say the streets or whatever, but it's just basic tears. Go ahead. I know you want to say something.
If we this, I keep hearing this. Don't break the system. Don't break the system. As far as when it comes to like entrepreneurship, don't try to reinvent the wheel. You have a ton of systems out here that has been proven to work. And I use that as an example to say, if we look at other immigrants, if we look at other cultures that came to America, forget about voting, forget about all that. Let's take that off the table for a minute. Just think about what they focused on. Look at the Asian. Look at the Asian community. Look at Latinos. Look at Jamaican. I'm talking about Jamaicans and Haitians and stuff like that. They don't even consider themselves Black. When the crazy thing is, Black is only the color of your skin. You get what I'm saying? They look at it like it's something. You call a person Black, they like, nah, I'm Haitian. Bro, you Black. You get what I'm saying? But this is how ignorant we are. And nobody is killing themselves the way that Black people are.
No, but even like what you said, that doesn't mean just because they don't identify themselves as Black, it doesn't make them smarter, it makes them dumber.
Absolutely.
So,
for sure. For sure. No, but the unity though.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% that that's where we are failing. Like, as you agree to, like when I heard you say all those other names besides the Jamaicans, even kind of the Jamaicans, they have their own government. So no matter what trouble I get here in America or what trouble they get here in America, their government is coming for them. You follow me?
Yeah. So I'm about to say, because even Jamaica itself, right? We can look at Jamaica real quick. Jamaica is selling off their own land to the Chinese man. Let's just be real. If you do your research, Jamaica is selling a lot of their land off to the Chinese man, right?
My people, no matter where you are, but my people lack knowledge. No matter where you go in this globe, you're going to find that the African has been dumbed down mentally. So I don't care where you go, you want to go to the South, the North, the West, the East, I don't care where you go again. They're going to make sure that we are the dumber ones. Like when it comes down to the...
You're talking about colorism, I see. Yeah.
When whatever you want to call it.
But knowing that, Mike, you got to keep in mind, it's more Black millionaires today than there ever was. It's a lot of how many examples do we have within a family? Whereas they say, I'm the first millionaire in my family.
But we as dumb as we than we ever have been.
But knowing that
we can have all the money, all the gold, all the jewelry, all the resources. We are going to do the same thing as they predicted, to be fools and dummies. Because they can say, right, we got all the millionaires, but what schools, what hospitals, what do we have a real substance?
Yeah,
we got a bunch of
because we're not paying attention. Yes, we don't. That's why they say generational wealth. Because I could be a millionaire, I could be a rapper, I could make it today, tomorrow, but we're not leaving nothing behind. We're not focused on leaving those systems behind. Like you said, hospitals, big names like Rockefeller, Ford, all those big names.
A lot of this stuff comes into place because we don't have families. Our family structure is broken. We see the Rockefellers, the difference with the Rockefellers, he had a wife that held it down and was giving them the same thing he was thinking to his offspring. See, but our wives, or the Black woman wife, or the Black woman period, she's not giving off what the father thought to the offspring. She's giving off what she think. Yeah. And she's telling even the father, even the king, what he should be doing. on how to move and how to be a king, how to be a man. You know, so that's what it's boiling down to us. We don't know how to be men because we are being led by women. Our fathers are being
but that come from single mothers, though. You know that.
Yeah,
come from single mothers raising boys. A woman can't raise a man to be a man. We all know that. So you have to be able to have the sense once you become age to look for that leadership elsewhere. You get what I'm saying? Some type of mentorship, some type of uncle, some type of, you know, grandfather, whatever, somebody to teach you what you don't know.
Yeah. So, and this is what I say. I've been saying this for a while now, that it's not the black man was being pimped for a while. We were their hoes. But now the black woman is the hoe. They use her as the vessel. You know? And if you use, you know, the Wood Lynch theory, she's now the negotiable. She's the one that's looking to lead and tell you when to get off, when to get on, what's going to be happening with the kid, what's going to happen with you. She want to control everything. She's the one at the forefront, and she's also teaching that to her offspring. She's making her son docile and making her woman child more masculine. Think about it like this, because the black woman also has to endure seeing black men being killed on just like you, being wrongly convicted. So she's going to think, well, I better make my son more docile so he don't be wrongly convicted. I gotta make my son more docile so he don't get shot in the middle of the street. You understand? But my girl child, I'll make her more dominant.
So let me reel back to, right? So this is why all this plays into factor when it comes to the prison system, right? So one thing we need to touch base on is drug policies, right? If you look at the history in America, drug policies have always led to mass incarceration, or was a tool used to incarcerate people of color. If we want to go, we can start way back in history. The first people that actually was banned from the U.S. to be even immigrate to the U.S. was Chinese immigrants, right? Why was the Chinese immigrants here? Chinese immigrants came here, I believe don't quote me on this, like the 1800s. They came, why? Because of manifest destiny. The goal was to eventually build America and go west. Chinese immigrants came here to help build the railroads, right? After that took place, the railroads was done. We was out west now, right? Now it's like, okay, these immigrants here, but we got no use for them anymore. So what they did was they started to use opioids as a way to start locking them up in a prison system, or even sending them back to China if they could. And they used that as a tool. Oh, they're using opioids and they're raping women and this, that, and the third. And this is why they need to be placed in jail and they need to be out of this country. And that's when officially they got banned. To fast forward, the early 1920s, Mexicans, when they started to bring weed, again, the propaganda was, oh, they're raping women and this, that, and they're committing a lot of crimes, right? So that was their way of banning Mexicans from immigrating here. And then with black people, cocaine fiends. I don't know if you ever heard that title, but again, they were saying black people, which in history they have white folks was doing cocaine, but from some odd reason, when blacks did cocaine, all of a sudden they got superpowers. They would take bullets. And if you look at all the propaganda in history and you see these things, again, they use this as a ploy to incarcerate blacks. And then what happened? We get further, right? A lot of people say the 1960s and 1970s was a great run for blacks, because obviously that was a civil rights movement. We was able to push forward a lot of history. We was able to push forward as individuals. And then what ended up happening is 1980s, the crack epidemic, right? People were being incarcerated for crack cocaine. I think the minimum was like 10 years just for like a certain ounce of crack that they found on them, right? But with cocaine, which is I guess a purer substance, they got less sentences. Why? Because more blacks were using crack, and that was a propaganda used to which was incarcerating a lot of blacks, and let's say black men. And this is how the single family, this is how the single mother began to come about, right? And this is how it's affecting us all today. And you got to look at these things. That's why I say drug policies, prisons, these things play hand in hand. As far as I know, your situation was different. Yours was just a murder, but a lot of times too, a lot of the prison system leads to some sort of drug policies incorporated into get people to place people in prison, people of color in prison. These were used as a tool by the United States system in order to incarcerate blacks. So, and people of color and Latinos, and we can go on and on about it, but a lot of things were used in the system to incarcerate black, but definitely drug policies.
I just wanted to touch on just some key facts real quick. This, to give the viewers some facts on. A lot of people don't know, but it's definitely currently incarcerated in the United States of America. You have 2.3 million people. 2.3 million. And the studies show that between 4 and 6% of those individuals are actually innocent. That's roughly around 115,000 people that's actually innocent. This is facts, and we talking about this is just based on studies. These numbers that they giving us, but I'm willing to bet that the number is double that. You get what I'm saying? And the leading causes to that I think is very important for people to know is number 1 on the list is false confessions. Number 2 is false accusations. Number 3 is perjury, whereas though someone get on the stand and lie. Number 4 is mistaken identity. Number 5 is official misconduct. For those who don't know that, some type of government official who does something wrong along the course of the investigation. And number 6 is bad forensic evidence. So these are the leading causes that leads to a wrongful conviction. The system is big business. The cops actually have some type of a certain amount of tickets, a certain amount of stuff that they have to do monthly. And if they not meeting or quarterly, whatever, if they not meeting those stacks, then something is happening.
This is exactly what I was saying. That's why I was saying that you can't matter who you put in there. I could put Wing Wong in there and he go come up with the same results. Because the system is all the same.
No, but at least they can try their best to do honest work. Because the truth of the matter is this: we have criminals out there. We at some of these inner cities is high gang activity. Is like I said, we killing each other, we robbing each other, we doing all that. So that's
what I'm trying to say to you. If we doing all that, what makes you think we gonna be corrupted towards each other? And when I get a gun and a badge.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, but everybody.
I'm not saying that everybody. Hold on, hear me out, man. I'm not saying that everybody, but I'm saying that we talking about black folks now. Okay, so if black folks will be corrupted in the church, they be corrupted at work, they be corrupted in their relationship. Why would they be corrupted when they get the badge and gun? I'm not talking about you or Mr. Wilcox.
No, absolutely.
I'm just talking in general. We're talking in general. You're the 1% that's good. Okay.
No, but I'm telling you from a department standpoint, I'm not 1%. I know a lot of good guys in there, black and white, who carry out their duties.
But you not working.
Hold on. Let me. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about as far as when you work for quote unquote work for the system. From my perspective, from my experience, I can't speak on other departments and stuff like that. But my police department, I know, does very great work. My police department makes sure you honor people's rights. My police department, we don't have no codes where you got to write this certain amount of It's none of that. It's none of that. We go above and beyond for our citizens. And I'm just speaking on my police department, but every white and black or Latino, everybody in that department is thorough. And I'm not just saying that. Because we have a standard.
Allegedly.
Our leaders, our leaders have a standard. And I can honestly tell you that it's no really quota there where it's like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta write this. No, it's not like that. I mean, yeah, it is. You do want to have a presence, right? You do want to have a presence in your community because again, as Teron said, crimes do happen. It's people out there that actually is killing people or trying to shoot somebody or stuff like that. You know how many times we'll go on a call and we trying to protect somebody, but then the family end up turning on us, even though we still got to keep our composure and enforce the law and do our best justice for these people, even though we know these people was a bad dude and was shooting at people and stuff like that. But we still had to work in ways work for them. So again,
And that's the recognition that you guys don't get, Dakwe.
Mhm.
And because a lot of people really just don't care. They be like, oh well, blah blah blah. But they don't know what y'all go through on a day-to-day basis out there, risking your life, trying to save our life.
Mhm.
You get what I'm
But
saying?
I'm not talking about I'm talking about intercities. We talking about Camden. We talking about
Oh yeah,
the
definitely.
ghettos. We're not talking about nicer neighborhoods. Because of course, nicer neighborhoods, they pay taxes, high pay taxes.
But don't
So
you
of
think?
course, you're not going to treat them any type of way. If I'm paying $10,000, $11,000 in property tax, okay, you're not going to treat me
No, that's
as if
true.
I paid $300.
But it's also, but you also got to keep this in mind, though, Mike.
Yeah.
In those cities, the crime rate is much lower.
Yeah.
So when they going out on these calls, they ain't got to be on high alert.
That's what I'm trying to say to Duckway.
No,
Your department, they don't got to be a high alert. They don't dealing with a bunch of drug addicts and drive-bys and just a bunch of
no, that's true.
foolery. So that's what I'm trying to say.
But at the same time, right? You look at these inner cities who have what we call as an open air drug market, right? So where you have people out on the streets selling drugs. Do you think the main drug dealers actually in Camden, Newark, Patterson? No, they live out in the suburbs. Plenty of time people have been caught in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So let's not say that things don't happen. Sicklerville, a lot of them times where you find these big kingpin drug dealers, they supplying everything. They giving the supply, but they don't actually live in Camden. So to say things don't exist, don't happen in these suburbs.
And that can be all that and dandy. But the people at the top, they're not looking to do the same thing as the people at the bottom. So the kingpin or the heroin kingpin or whatever you talk about, he can be in the suburbs because it don't matter. He's not trying to do the things to put him at the bottom. He got a bigger mindset, so he's not going to be outside. Yo, I got the thing. Come by.
But that doesn't matter because you still have. It doesn't matter because you still have investigators. At the end of the day, just like how
we talking about the crime though.
But hold on. Just like a lawyer, like we said, a lawyer is measured by wins and losses. Same thing as a police officer, as a detective, whatever you are, a prosecutor.
That's what I'm trying to say. You corrupted.
No, it's not. That's where you're missing my point. Because at the end of the day, just like they are measured by wins and losses, we also trying to do a job too to make sure we get people off the street. People that are actually supplying drugs and stuff like that.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? Those are things we're trying to establish and get done.
Who's the first thing? I'm sorry, Mr. I'm going to ask you a question. So when you go through any type of anything, with law, who is the first person you have interactions with?
Police officer.
The police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's writing up false reports, you got 100-some thousand people as falsely in jail. Their first interaction was the police.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So if anywhere, okay, then that's what I'm trying to say, that shows 100% flaw.
What you got to elaborate on that? I'm confused. Like, what do you mean flaw? Because their first interactions with police officers, but what? What?
Yeah,
from there,
okay, then, bro. So you dictate if I go to jail or not, innocent or guilty.
Okay.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't commit a crime, and I'm telling you I didn't commit a crime, and you're saying I committed a crime,
mm-hmm.
do you put me in jail?
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, they will be the problem.
Well,
the prosecutor just doing his job. He's just reading a report and saying, "Hey," thinking that the police officer is a good police officer. He's a man of his word, and he's saying that Mr. Hill has killed somebody. I have to go by the police officer. The police officer is a sworn officer.
Yeah, but
how I'm going to listen to Mr. Hill?
It don't actually work like that. If he's going out on the streets, you got to think he got witnesses. He's going off of evidence.
Thank you.
He's not just saying, "Oh, I'm thinking that he did it." You get what I'm saying?
No, wait a minute.
It's not as
all right, no, let me bring this to the table. I don't really tell my business, bro. You don't have to. We can just make a different scenario. I can just see you driving down the street. I can pull you over. Yeah. I can say I think you got a gun, and I can pull my gun out and shoot you.
Yeah.
Okay. Matter of fact, I can make a different scenario, and you can be driving down the street. I can say that you got a gun, and I can beat you up. And I can say you resisted arrest. You was you assaulted an officer. I can make up a bunch of goddamn.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why that's not gonna happen as often, right?
No, that does happen as often.
There's a thing called body cameras now, right?
All
so
right,
that get people jammed up. That get people jammed up, and that
I can show you multiple cases where body cams go missing.
Okay,
somehow it don't work no more.
Mm-hmm. And you think they don't? You don't think there's no repercussions? You don't think that's investigated?
So when you get into the system, it's already too late. The judge and the prosecutor are going to eat you up.
But look, also look, it could be bad, Mike. But we also gotta say this: the American justice system, and it after being through what I went through, you have to give me credit for having the courage to say this.
Yeah,
the American justice system is one of the best in the world. You might not know that. Look it up.
Let's go to Jamaica. If you're going to throw Jamaica.
Oh, wait. Hold on. So is it better than Europe?
I don't know. I don't know about Europe.
Wait a minute. Because Europe, they don't even carry guns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we had to go to the system, the justice system, I'd go to Europe first. Yeah, see,
but why even bring that up if you're someone that believes in gun rights?
No, but come on, man. It's called conflict.
I'm just saying.
No, look. I said one. I said one of the best in the world.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
A lot of us
misinterpreted.
Look, we trash America. We say all this and that. Listen, once I found out with these, because growing up, once you start coming into becoming mature, becoming aware of certain things,
coming a man.
Myself, why is everybody trying to get to America?
Mm-hmm.
Why? They leaving their homeland. America really is the land of opportunity. Mm-hmm. It really is. Blacks are the only ones that don't have that mindset. Everybody else have that mindset.
Why you think again, Jamaicans come? Let's look at other black folks in general, right? Let's look at Haitians. Let's look at the Haitian, the Jamaican, the African. They come here and they become successful, right? It seems to be that way. They seem to come and is a different mindset when it comes to America, right? So we can go on and on about how bad the system is, but that's the beauty of everything, that we are able to fight the system, and we have a system that is better than anyone else that I can know. I know you're Jamaican, bro. Jamaica has the worst.
I can play both.
But hold on though. Let me finish. Jamaica has one of the worst policing systems in general. Jamaica is very well known for having crooked cops getting paid off, all that other stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Jamaica, that's just an example. So I know I wouldn't rather be nowhere else, because I'd probably get my hands cut off something.
Yeah,
and I know that's very ignorant.
A defeated mindset.
Who's defeated?
Wait a minute. Let me talk. I'll let you talk now.
Okay.
Defeated meaning that there's no better. There's nothing better. I can't even that type of thinking. All right, how about this? It's like this. You guys don't look at it from a different stance. How about this? How about if I say it like this? Well, the white man, for you guys to be civilized, for you guys to have a good place to live, the white man had to come in and make it civil. The white man had to come and give you laws and things, put things in place for you guys to be humans.
I think
if you want to play that game, but nowhere else, where else have you guys built anything to show that you guys have a good civilization, that you guys as black men can build anything? But why I'm not. So hold on. So that's why I'm not always so quick to cherry on America, cherry on another man's great successes. Now, I don't mind saying this is a great place to live, by all means. But this is not ours. It may be really ours by birth, but not by title anymore. This is constructed for another group of people. We just living here integrated, trying to take a little bit of what their scraps.
Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, though, right? Our ancestors came here, right? It was a time where we had the opportunity to go back to Africa, and a lot of us didn't. That's why you have Liberia, right? A lot of blacks went back to Liberia, and a lot of us chose not to, because we felt as though this was our home, right? We put as much blood, sweat, and tears as white folks.
No, I agree to all that.
But hold on, though. One thing you said is defeated. If anybody's defeated, it's not me and him. I believe it's you that's defeated. Let me tell you why. Because you continue to line up these excuses as to, It's broken. It's broken. It's not going to work this way. It works for that. Me and him, we're putting ideas out there on the table of how we can advance in society, right? Real ideas that can happen now, like within 20 years, right? Of us just getting involved in the justice system, us influencing our children to be involved in the justice system, becoming doctors and stuff like that. And it's like the moment we bring it up, you shoot it down. It's like, oh no, well,
we've been doing that for the past
we haven't
150 years.
We have not.
You can't.
Wait, well, listen, hold on, y'all. I'll let y'all talk now. Let your boy go ahead. Let both y'all get. Go ahead, help me.
Progress. You can't knock the progress. That's it.
I'm with the progress. I'm with whatever we can do. If y'all want to do it like come police officers, come governors, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with whatever, with whatever way. But what I'm saying is that you playing like it's like all right. You a cop and you going after the street street boy instead of the kingpin, or the guy in Sticklerville, or the guy in whatever you talk about, whatever you saying. You going after the guy that's pushing it instead of the guy that's really bringing it in. You understand? So it's like. And this, okay, so it's cool that we can go integrate. We can go do some more integrating, but it's never going to fix the problem. The problem will always be there. We're just be making a system. That's the only thing that I can see is happening. Making a system within a system, and hoping it stands.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, you got to be realistic, bro.
But you got to be realistic. You're saying that hire more blacks, do all this stuff. That is creating a system.
What I'm saying is not even necessarily hire more blacks. Black people, having black folks strive to get into these fields. Why is it that little I'm just throwing a random name, little Jamal, why is it that Jamal is the moment he's born as a black man, he's automatically, let's get him to play sports. This will get him out the hood, right? Yeah. Why can't it be some sort of education? Why can't little Jamal get some sort of trade? Things like that. These are the things that need to be analyzed more and put into place for our black brothers, not to continue to, let's let him be a singer, let him be a rapper, let him be an athlete. This is, like I told you, we talked about this last week. Me as an athlete myself, right? I get it. I love sports. But at the end of the day, we continue, and entrepreneurship, like you're an entrepreneur yourself. We need to put those things in the forefront when it comes to our black men and black women. Again, we too many times we're pushing entertainment and stuff for our children when we need to be pushing education, trade schools, electricians, carpenters, things like that of that nature need to be pushed to the forefront.
I don't know if we're missing each other, because you guys said I'm not. I 100% agree with all that. We should be developing our culture. Stop accepting the culture that's been given to us. So I'm 100% with you. Mm-hmm. But what I am saying that we also got to stop playing games, this psychological game, and stop being realistic. We are playing another man's game. This isn't our monopoly. Go ahead.
The issue I want to speak on with that, to touch on what Daquay said, is we have to give credit to black people. The resiliency that we have had to, let's say, if a bunch of jobs we've been getting denied, we have literally created systems. As you mentioned, we have created our own systems. We just don't know how to use them. Like you said, sports. How many? I'm talking about on draft night. I'm talking about I literally be in tears to see how much of these families' lives has changed overnight. Basketball, football, the rap industry. That's blacks. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have created systems. We have created industries for ourselves to bring in millions of dollars. But that's where they need to be collectively coming together and building schools, building stuff like that towards for us, something that we can have.
No, I agree with that. Like, okay, we created that system. Maybe that system is not the best system, right? Maybe we tap dancing and pitting on our black faces and we acting like a bunch of coons for that system, right?
Right.
But we can all, I agree, we can take that money and we can create a new system. We can create a government. We can say, well, we can buy politicians.
We're not creating no government. I'm saying more, right?
To go back with the athletes, because my thing is, right, little Jamal, his main focus is becoming let's say an NBA player, right? it's like they'll do their year. They won't even get educated. They'll go to college for a year, enter the draft, and it's like, oh, I made it, and that's it. And it stops there. And what they end up doing, a lot of them end up doing, they end up marrying out of their own race, right? Let's just call a spade a spade. Right. And again, it's like they get dissolved of everything that happens once they made it, and they begin to forget others. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of them, they may do like these charities and stuff. That's just to get tax write-offs.
And this is why I kind of say, sorry I cut you off that quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is why I kind of say that I agree. I don't find nothing wrong. See, this is why, okay, now I'm look like I'm trying on the fence on both sides. If I say the truth, then y'all heard the truth. So now I'm gonna say, what I do to protect myself from this type of ideology. This is why I don't find a problem with people dating outside their race. I don't find a problem with y'all going to be police officers, governors, whatever. Because it's way more easier to accept the foolish thinking, the foolish ways of people, than to try to change the people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I'd rather accept all Black Americans. See how you say? See how I just dissociate? I disconnected myself from Black Americans. So I was just like, I let all Black Americans, have this way of thinking, have this way of being, instead of looking at, as you say, look at the Chinese, look at the Puerto Ricans, look at the Arabs, look at everybody else, and adopting maybe that same format for a short bit of time.
Right.
Yeah. Because when you go to all of their format, it's completely opposite of the Black culture. It's completely opposite. They don't date outside their race.
Right.
They have their own government. Every one of them. You do something to them, the government coming behind to fight whatever other government to get you out of there. So if I do a crime in the United States of America, if I'm a citizen of Jamaica, my Jamaican government is coming in to take me back to Jamaica. If I'm a Canadian, if I do a crime in America, my Canadian government is coming back to get me from out of America. So if I do
this, look, I'm gonna tell you this, not to cut you off. They don't want to go back to their government. You best believe I didn't spend time with Asians, all types of races in prison. They don't want to go back to their government. They would rather spend the rest of their life in a New Jersey prison than to spend a week inside their own prison.
Yeah, that's some of them. Because if I'm a Canadian, I'd rather go back to my own prison.
Canadian different. That's more Americanized.
Yeah, if I'm from Europe,
you're talking about third world countries versus regular modern.
Well, China, this is about to be a third world country pretty soon, so you ain't got to worry about that.
Oh my God, where's your faith at, man? Where's your faith at?
What you mean? My faith is into the numbers. The number says, you just said, Spanish people are 33% here in America. This is about to be a third world country.
But Daquay, I definitely think, like you said, more of our people need to be educated. That is coming into these big checks, these, because if I'm a basketball player, especially if I'm a LeBron James, if you that type of star, imagine with the influence and the power that he have to bring together a group of them to just say we're going to do something for our people.
Yeah, but what is that? Because again, that's still, I think, again, like I say, sports and entertainment is still a distraction. It's still a distraction at the end of the day, because no matter how powerful they are or how much money they got, they're still not. I mean, Jay-Z has done a little bit as far as when it came to the NFL and doing some of his due diligence, but again, I just still feel as though we're in this mindset of where once I make it in the NFL, NBA, I made it. That's it. I'm gonna donate to some charities. I'm gonna give a little back, give like book bags and stuff. But that's not what really needs to be done. It's not just giving book bags back and giving turkeys and stuff like that. Not these tax write-offs. We need some real efficient things, like you said. Maybe money need to be poured into an innocence project that they can do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can hear you out where they can bring you on, but they're not concerned about that. And that's my issue. This is why I said I can't see them as leaders, and I can't even put no pressure on them anymore. Like even that whole Deion Sanders thing, I was very disappointed about that. Right? I felt as though it was finally a coach who was getting a lot of top recruits and putting the money into HBCU, right? And while also helping blacks recognize their roots and where they come from and stuff. And that's why I thought that situation was a dope situation. But again, if you're going to the University of Alabama, you're going to University of Arizona, you're going to USC, you think they're really teaching you that? No. So again, but those HBCUs will educate you on those things, and you will have a more how can I say this? You're just you'll be in a standpoint where you're more educated on your ancestors and what they have done for us and the civil rights they have fought for us. But we have gotten away from that because, like I said, it starts with education. A lot of these kids, they go to these top programs because they want to. A lot of kids, you see them go to Alabama, right? That school population is probably 99% white, 98% white, right. But and majority of their athletes come from black students. And again, if you see the state of the art $30 million facility, all that's all nice, but again, are they actually being educated on civil rights and things like that? No, it's strictly football and that's it. And that's why, again, I don't know how it'll work. I don't have the answer for that. That's why I said our only solution is to gear our kids towards education and trades versus trying to rely on athletes and entertainers to get us recognition. Because I don't see a situation. I mean, you have rappers like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, who have they speak about the rights because it's something good to talk about. But are they actually doing anything to give back to the system to help the system advance?
Everybody is a puppet, and that's what I keep trying to say. But you guys are fighting me on it. And I think that's gonna be. Hold on, one second. Let me talk. I'll let y'all talk, man. Shut up. All right, but listen. I think it's gonna take some time for you guys to live a little bit more, to go through a little bit more trials and tribulations in this life, to see it for what it is. I get it. I don't want y'all to mischaracterize me or misunderstand me. I stand on education. You understand? So all across the board, I want us to be educated. Okay? But do I want us to be educated from the same education system from 18 whatever? So that's where we come into place at. And again, that's why I feel like whatever we do, that's why you say we can't make no government. I'm going to hold in on to that. I want to drill that into y'all brain. Government. Because whatever y'all keep doing, y'all working into another system. And it's okay to have your own government. It's okay to have a spokesperson for black people.
But that's what me and him are doing right now. Look at us now. My man,
what we're doing right now is we're just having a conversation, and two, what you're doing is you're going to another man's system and you asking for something.
It's not another man's system, it's our system. That's where you're getting construed. At the end of the day, it's still our system as well. We're a part of the system. You're a taxpaying citizen. He's a taxpaying citizen. I'm a taxpayer. It's our system.
I love it. No, I love that, and that's why I was on a game the other day, right? And they was talking, and I said to them, well, if I want to be a Mexican, all I got to do is move to Mexico and become a Mexican citizen, and then I'll be a Mexican too. So I understand it's our system. I understand that concept, but we don't reap the benefits from the system.
Well, you can't. But look, again, like I said, I'm a factual guy, man. I didn't ran through. I gave an interview and I said, man, some of the best conversations I had in prison was with myself. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't went through all these things. You got a ton of black people that's doing better than white people. So you can't keep leaning on that. You got white people that get done worse than black people. So then it becomes in a class. It's a class thing now. Oh, you gotta have money. I got people with life sentences in there with money. You get what I'm saying? So it varies, and I get your point. I get what you're saying. But what me and Daquay is saying is we need to work together, regardless of what. You can't try to separate yourself. You can't try to have this mindset like I'm against black people or I don't want to do business with black people. This is why the Malcolm X movement, the Nation of Islam, and all them. This is why they have been still not accepted by the masses, because they still got this mindset saying I don't want to do business with the white man. If you're here in America, you have to do business with the white man. There's no way around that.
No, I agree to that. Well, that's what I'm trying to show you. But they don't got to do business with you. That's the difference. See, y'all don't get it. It's like y'all not understanding.
No, you make them.
We don't have wealth.
You can make them. We do not
have wealth. So anybody.
Donald Trump, look, not to cut you off. Donald Trump was a businessman. He don't care about the color of your skin. Now, if you came home and talk about his daughter dating a black guy, that's a whole different story. Mm-hmm. But as long as we talk about business, they don't see no color.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you think.
No,
I'm a man that's been in business since 2015. So I know I work for Indians, I work for Chinese, I work for whites, I work for every race and creed. I'm telling you, what's the experience? Mm-hmm. I even had a Jew who denied me just because I was black. You know, so I know that people, they have their own creeds. They have their own. Listen, man, we may think that the world is all hippie hoppy, yah, but it's not. It's a dog-eat-dog world. And if it really came down to it, if let's say white people really wanted to shut the little bit of money they do give us, because you're thinking that they really doing business, but they're really not. On a bigger number scale, they're doing more business with their own kind. And this is what, and even with that, what y'all saying, oh, they in the police, they in jail too. Well, of course they're going to be in jail. They are the majority here in this place.
Yes, that's true.
So it's like, I get it. I get everybody's point. I get everybody's stance. But we have to start looking at it from being a man. Stop.
What are you advising? What are you advising?
What are you advising?
Yeah, that's the government is out. Can't have our separate government. It's not going to happen.
Listen, if we organize ourselves so strong, we will be looked at as a government. We probably won't have to have the title of a government, but we be looked at as a government.
But didn't I mention that earlier? I swore I mentioned that earlier.
But do we really want that? Because look, like again, regardless of our religious views and stuff like that, Elijah Muhammad has been preaching that in his entire day.
Yeah.
The Minister Farrakhan, they're still, you don't have to be a Muslim to do business with them. They about black people. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what they've been preaching their entire careers.
It's because black folks are not smart. They're not thinking. Yeah. They don't think economics. And that's why you're trying to say, you may think that they don't play economics, but they play economics 10 times harder than we are. So it's with the Chinaman, the Puerto Rican man, the Arab man, the white man, they all playing more economics than we. Their money's staying in their community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm basically saying. We may get the drops, the jobs that the people that are really making moves don't want. So they have to go find a nigga business and say, hey, they start telling you what they gonna do, what the price is and how you gonna do. They start pretty much taking control of over your company.
Did that happen to you from experience?
Listen, man. We can look this stuff up. We always got to use me as some data because when you talk about yourself, it's a personal experience. It's not like it don't have no data behind it. I'm telling you, we can look up Accent Black on YouTube. You can type it in, and it will show a bunch of different people. Okay, like you can ask. All right, I don't want to start saying this type of stuff and start sounding racist. Just forget it.
Well, let's look at redlining though. All of us are familiar with redlining. That's a very simple thing where they didn't want to do business with you because they didn't want you living in a certain area. They didn't want you buying a house. They wouldn't want blacks buying a house in certain areas, right? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden they didn't want to accept. They want to approve you for a mortgage loan because of that. I have a friend who grew up in Massachusetts. Her mom was white. Her dad was black, and she was saying how. She was telling me how they used to got a lot of scrutiny in Massachusetts because they didn't want to do business once they saw her dad because he was a black man. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, and let me tell you something. For years, I had a white man. Oh my gosh, I think every time I say something like that, made me feel bad. But I had a white man to the front of my company. Mm-hmm. When I went to houses, he knocked on the door first.
Oh, and I understand why you did that. We're not denying that.
What I'm trying to inform you that you are in another man's society. Until you can do it yourself as a black man, knock on the doors, they don't feel threatened. You can walk down the street, somebody don't feel threatened. You haven't, that's what I'm trying to say. As men, forget whatever we thinking. As men, as black men, as a leader of your family, how can you look at yourself as a leader and you go to another man and asking him for justice? And something happened to my daughter, something happened to one of my kids. And I don't know if y'all think about that. Like, just start thinking Most of the time, even when you go to your juries, when you look at your jury, they don't look like you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. Look at the OJ case.
Sometimes,
Look at the OJ
right?
case. She knew he was guilty, but because of everything that was going on with the Rodney King situation.
So you think? So you telling me, right? If we had a white man and an all-black jury, do you think that he's going to go home just as quick as they go home today, or vice versa? Like like how it goes with the black man? How when a black man he gets an all-white jury, he gets guilty, no matter if he's guilty or not. Majority of the time,
I don't think it's that simple. I think when we begin to talk,
look at the numbers.
When we begin to talk about
the 100 and something thousand men and wrongly convicted.
We know black men are disproportionately incarcerated more than whites. We understand that completely. But again, the justice system is more complex than we think we can imagine. But like I said, this is why I keep going back to what me and Tehran are saying as far as us getting more involved inside the justice system, right? Because like he said, a lot of people are putting the groundwork in to create. Why do you think you see diversity hiring now, right? Isn't it a big thing? We look at diversity. Yeah. Everybody's trying to preach diversity. That's been established for a reason. So these things are pushing forward now, right? So we on the diversity hiring now. A lot of police departments and other departments in general are now trying to diversify their hiring, right? That's what's happening. That's currently what's happening now. Now the next step in the next fight now is let's not just be simple all of us, the low man on the totem pole as just patrolmen. Now let's look at the diversity hiring when it comes to becoming supervisors and things of that nature. But again, this is a process and this thing doesn't happen overnight.
If you go to most black inner cities, the governor is black. If you go to most black inner cities, the police chief is black.
What do you think Camden police chief is?
Well, he's white, but I'm just saying.
No, he's not. Well, he was white, but then
whatever you want to call it. I don't.
But no, he's saying that is progress. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm saying, yes, we've been doing it for years. Yes, absolutely. But you got to think of Chicago as well. But look, you got to think about the people in power, what they did to their population, the white population. They also brainwashed them. They put us against each other. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, imagine that. So they put us against each other, and then they said, okay, once slavery and all that stuff was over, then they said, go live together. Imagine how hard that was for them.
Yeah, think about it.
Us as 3/5 of a man, literally. Mm-hmm. They looked at us as trash. So now we go into their schools.
The law has not changed. You're still 3/5 of a man.
No, man, I ain't no 3/5 of a man.
That's the law.
Man. That's what if you want to identify as
3/5
of a man.
Yes, it did, man. It definitely changed from that.
Oh, man, you believe that?
Come on, bro.
If you 3/5 of a man, you wouldn't have a business right now. If you 3/5 of a man.
No, yes, I would. Come on,
man. Wasn't allowed. We wasn't even allowed to own property. You know that. That's when we was 3/5 of a man. That's how they put us against each other. The white man was allowed to go out, purchase property, own businesses. The black man was not. That's that whole Jim Crow era. That's now mass incarceration. This is what this is for. They use businesses. Okay, now they catching on. Now because it's all about deceiving the people.
No, the black man had his own business.
Yeah, then they burned it down, the Black Wall Street, all that.
I'm talking about Black Wall Street. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, we got to really look at history. Because black folks had their own taxi companies. Because we couldn't ride on their buses. We couldn't ride in their cars. So black folks, for integration, we had our own. We had, like you say, we had our own NBA, the black league or whatever, the Negro league, whatever you want to call it. We had our own stuff. You're saying so?
Because we had to.
That is
when we had
more when we had to do it that way.
Yeah, when we had to be together.
Our kids was guaranteed a job when we had to do it that way.
Yes,
we didn't have to go. Go ahead, man.
One last thing I wanted to touch on is pretty much a theory, right? So it's a thing called social conflict theory, right? So remember how I was touching base on the how drug policies and everything was used to incarcerate black folks and people of color in general. Yeah. So when I wrote my master's project, it was inspired because when Chris Christie was in office, right? Sometimes it takes for things that happen to hit at home in order for people to wake up and go into effect. Like, all right, now we need to combat drug policies, right? So that's why in New Jersey we have a lot of when it comes from a law standpoint now, we're kind of trying to push back from drug use and arresting people for marijuana and things like that. We're really pushing back from that now. This is what me and Teron are saying, progress, right? So sometimes it has to hit home for them to have some sort of understanding, and sometimes
That
it sucks
shouldn't be
if
our
it happened
fight.
that way. But look, it's in full effect. Now they have all these, because just like a drug use has no face now, right? But now all these resources being poured into the drug use system because whites were affected. A lot of white folks was overdosing, right? So, but now everybody's benefiting from that. And I can say for the particular state of New Jersey now, my grandmother attends a methadone clinic, and they provide her with plenty of resources for her to try to get clean. And that's what I mean by like social conflict theory. Sometimes a lot of these things have to hit home, I guess, for the, I guess we'll say the who the system is benefiting for the most, or the people in power. And that's just sometimes how it works at times. But that's not to say that we stop fighting or everything like that. We still got to do our due diligence, like I said, which is again getting away from this entertainment system, which is going to be tough to do, and athletics, and focusing on things that we can build on. But again, we got to look at some theories and see how we're benefiting from now. I think, Teron, you mentioned something about, because you're right with progress. You got Title IX. Title IX. It was another law that was created. It was a form of diversity hiring. You also have what is it called? OSP programs and stuff in colleges. This is to help disproportionately Black students and people of color, students of color, to help them get an education. So people are doing the due diligence and doing their background work to have us move forward in society. But I guess I want to end this with what's the solution? What other solutions do we think that we have in mind as far as that?
I'm saying unity, man. And for me, it starts within the home. I feel like it starts within the home. We need more Black men in the home actually raising their families. It starts there, and then I think it trickles out to
You read it, Mike Mine. But go ahead.
That's what I was fighting on. I said, we don't get, who cares about all that other stuff, all that drug stuff. If you fix the main problem, we got all the others to go fix itself.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
No, it starts within the home, and that trickles out to my friendships. If I'm in a home and I got daughters, sons, whatever, and I'm saying, yo, you wronged your friend. I got a daughter, my 9-year-old, my stepdaughter, she got issues, in school or wherever. We try to teach her, if you was wrong to your friend, you apologize, you make it right. We wasn't taught this stuff growing up. We wrong each other. It's like, you get what I'm saying?
Forget about them.
Okay. But that's where it starts at for me. I think as long as you get your home right, your relationships right, things, it's possible.
And I think that's what we all agree upon. Again, it looked like we're all looking at the home as the kind of part of the root cause of the issue. And we already talked about what has affected it and how the Black man have been taken out of the home and stuff like that. And absolutely, I just can't agree with that more as far as the solution. That definitely starts at home and raising. We got to get out of the single parent mindset. We definitely got to get into a family, raising a child, a family. I also, this is something Mike didn't like, but I also said it does take a village as well, because it's not going to just be put on the two parents. It's also going to take a village too. The environment, everything that incorporates in their life and their lifestyle and moving forward. So
I agree. There's no better solution than that. If the home is not right, nothing else is going to be right.
Yeah, well, Black family, that's what it is. Black man. Again, guys, I think that some things may have been taken a little out of context, but I think we had a great discussion overall. We want to take one thing from here. From the goal is the Black man to be a Black man. It's just get out his panties, get out his dress on, and start teaching his sons how to be men. And we just start there again. Start there. Because if we fix the man will understand what kind of woman to pick. If this woman is for him or not. So from that point, the queen is the most kind of important piece on the board. But but not the most important, because the king is the most important. Once the king dies, the game is over. But the queen is still just as powerful, just as important. So the development of your successes, the development of your life, it really goes off of your woman, the quality of her.
That's the most important. That's the most important decision you can make, man. You're choosing your partner for sure.
Yeah. And then the last thing is it was a famous quote. A friend of mine who's in the education system, he's a teacher up in North, and the quote he always said was, "This is why I always revert back to teaching our children as far as what to focus on, and don't get so distracted by entertainment and athletes, because the quote was, it's easier to build boys than broken men. It's easier to build boys than broken men." And that's definitely a thing. And obviously, I'm not going to just apply that to just men, but even our young women as well. Like, again, that's why it starts, as we all say, or we all agree, is that it starts in the home, man. It definitely starts in the home. So,
yeah, it's definitely good one, man. I appreciate it for sure.
No, we appreciate you, man.
Hope to have you again, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, I'm here. Y'all can hit me up anytime.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna end off with a little song, and then we'll get up out of here. Well, you all guys can leave if y'all want, but I'm gonna try to end off the stream a little bit good.
Yeah, cuz go get something to eat, man. We appreciate
yeah, definitely, man. I'm getting ready. All right, appreciate y'all.
I'm
here.
I appreciate it, man.
All
right, Mike.
You gonna hate this one, bro. Oh man. Just go get my show flagged. I don't even give a fuck.
It's time to level up your online casino experience. Earn Valley Bucks on every wager. Play in our casino classics, jackpot slots, and live dealer games. Convert your Valley Bucks into cash rewards. New customers get $100 risk-free play.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Show is over.